Jason Torres had been working as an EMT in Phoenix for 8 years. 8 years of responding to accidents, heart attacks, overdoses. 8 years removed from his time as an Air Force Pararescueman, from jumping out of helicopters into combat zones, from rescuing wounded soldiers under fire. Torres had left that life behind, had traded military medicine for civilian emergency response, had tried to forget the things Torres had seen, the missions Torres had flown, the people Torres couldn't save. But on a Thursday afternoon in August, when Torres's ambulance responded to a car accident on Interstate 10, Torres's past came crashing back. The victim in the wrecked sedan looked up at Torres with recognition, said words that made Torres's blood run cold. "You. I remember you. Afghanistan. You saved me." And what started as a routine accident response would become a race against time, because the mission the victim remembered was classified, erased from all records. A helicopter crash that officially never happened, carrying a team conducting an assassination that officially never occurred. And now someone new the victim remembered. Someone new Torres remembered. And they were coming to eliminate everyone who could testify about what really happened that night, 8 years ago. The accident was standard, single vehicle, lost control, hit the barrier. Driver injured but conscious. Torres and Torres's partner, Rachel Kim, arrived within 6 minutes. Torres approached the vehicle, assessed the driver. Male, late 30s. Compound fracture of the left arm, possible internal injuries. Conscious but in pain. Torres said to the driver, "Sir, I'm Jason. I'm an EMT. Can you tell me your name?" The driver looked at Torres. The driver's eyes widened. The driver said to Torres, "Torres. Jason Torres, Pararescue. You're the one who pulled me out. You saved my life." Torres paused. Torres said to the driver, "I think you have me confused with someone else. Let me check your injuries." The driver grabbed Torres's arm with his good hand. The driver said to Torres urgently, "No, I remember. Afghanistan, 8 years ago. Helicopter crash. You rappelled down, got me out before it exploded. You saved 5 of us. I'm Marcus Webb. Specialist Marcus Webb. You have to remember." Torres did remember. Vaguely. A night rescue. Helicopter down. Multiple casualties. Torres had been part of the team that extracted survivors. But Torres said to Webb, "Sir, you need to calm down. You've been in an accident. You might be confused." Webb said to Torres, "I'm not confused. I remember everything. The mission, the crash, you pulling me out, your face. I've thought about that night for 8 years. Wondered if I'd ever see you again. To thank you." Torres treated Webb's injuries, stabilized him, loaded him into the ambulance. During transport to the hospital, Torres checked Torres's memory. 8 years ago. Afghanistan. Helicopter crash. Torres pulled up the date on Torres's phone, searched Torres's old mission logs, found nothing. No helicopter crash on that date, no rescue operation. Nothing in Torres's records matched what Webb was describing. At the hospital, Torres handed Webb off to the ER staff, but Torres couldn't let it go. Torres waited until Torres's shift ended, went back to talk to Webb. Found Webb in a hospital bed, arm in a cast. Stable condition. Torres said to Webb, "Mr. Webb, I need to ask you about what you said. About Afghanistan. About the helicopter crash. I don't have any records of that mission. Can you tell me more?" Webb looked around nervously. Webb said to Torres quietly, "Close the door." Torres closed it. Webb continued. Webb said to Torres, "The crash, it wasn't an accident, and it wasn't a standard mission. We were Special Forces, Delta, conducting an operation, classified, Black Ops. We weren't supposed to exist. The helicopter took fire, went down. You and your team pulled us out. But afterwards, we were told the mission never happened. All records were erased. We were sworn to secrecy. Told if we ever talked about it, we'd be charged with treason, revealing classified operations." Torres said to Webb, "What was the mission? What were you doing?" Webb hesitated. Then Webb said to Torres, "We were assassinating someone, an American citizen living in Afghanistan. The target was accused of terrorism, of supporting Al-Qaeda, but there was no trial, no charges, no due process, just an order to eliminate him. We were the execution team, and the helicopter crash happened during exfil, after we'd completed the mission, after we'd killed an American without trial." Torres felt sick. Torres said to Webb, "An extrajudicial killing of an American citizen?" Webb said to Torres, "Yes. It violated everything we were supposed to stand for, but we had orders from the highest levels. We followed them, and then we crashed, and you saved us. But the whole thing was covered up. The mission was erased. The crash never happened. The target was declared killed by drone strike. Clean, legal, no questions. Except it wasn't a drone. It was us. And I've been living with that for 8 years." Before we continue, I need to hear from you. Drop your name and what city or country you're watching from in the comments. Let's see how far this story reaches around the world. Torres said to Webb, "Why are you telling me this now, after 8 years of staying quiet?" Webb said to Torres, "Because last week, 2 of the guys from my team died. Vehicle accident. Both of them, same day, different locations. Official story says coincidence, but I don't believe it. I think someone is eliminating witnesses. Everyone who was on that mission, everyone who knows what really happened. And if they're coming for the team, they'll come for the rescue crew too. They'll come for you." Torres said to Webb, "That's insane. Why would they wait 8 years?" Webb said to Torres, "Because the target we killed? His family has been investigating, building a case. They found evidence of the assassination. They're planning to file a lawsuit. Wrongful death, civil rights violations. If it goes to trial, everyone involved will have to testify. So someone is cleaning house, eliminating witnesses before they can be subpoenaed, making it look like accidents." Torres said to Webb, "Do you have proof? Evidence of what you're saying?" Webb said to Torres, "I have my own records, notes I kept, photos from the mission. I violated orders by keeping them, but I knew someday the truth would come out, and I wanted proof I was following orders, that I wasn't a murderer by choice. I was a soldier following illegal orders. The evidence is hidden, safe. But if something happens to me, someone needs to know where it is. Someone needs to expose it." Torres said to Webb, "Where is it?" Webb gave Torres an address, a storage unit in Tucson. Webb gave Torres the code. Webb said to Torres, "If I die, get that evidence. Give it to the target's family. Let them have justice. And protect yourself. Because once they know you know, they'll come for you too." Torres left the hospital. Torres's mind was racing. Torres wanted to dismiss it. Paranoia, conspiracy theory. But something about Webb's story felt true. The fear in Webb's eyes, the specificity of his details, the fact that Torres's own records showed no rescue on that date. Something had been erased, hidden, classified. Torres went home, searched online for information, found a news story from 8 years ago. An American citizen, David Brennan, killed in Afghanistan. Drone strike. Alleged Al-Qaeda supporter. No trial, no charges filed. Just an announcement of his death, justified under war powers, counter-terrorism operations, legal gray area. Torres found more. Brennan's family, his wife and 2 children, had filed a lawsuit 3 months ago. Wrongful death, claiming Brennan was not a terrorist, was a humanitarian worker, that he'd been killed illegally, that the government had covered it up. The lawsuit was moving forward. Discovery was scheduled. Depositions would begin soon. Torres found one more thing, an obituary posted 6 days ago. Captain Michael Preston, age 42, died in vehicle accident, survived by wife and 3 children. Torres cross-referenced the name. Preston had been Special Forces, Delta, 8 years ago. Same unit as Webb. Same time frame. Webb was right. Someone was eliminating witnesses. Torres tried to call Webb. Webb's phone went to voicemail. Torres called the hospital. The nurse said Webb had checked himself out, against medical advice. Left 2 hours after Torres had visited him. Torres had a bad feeling. Torres drove to Webb's address, found Webb's apartment. The door was ajar. Torres entered, found signs of struggle. Furniture overturned, blood on the floor. Webb was gone. Taken. Or killed. Torres's worst fears confirmed. Torres called 911, reported a possible abduction. The police arrived, investigated, found no body, no witnesses, no evidence of what had happened. They took Torres's statement, told Torres they'd follow up. But Torres knew. Webb was gone, and Torres was next. Torres made a decision. Torres would go to Tucson, get Webb's evidence, expose the truth before they could silence everyone. Torres drove through the night, arrived at the storage facility at dawn, found the unit, entered the code. Inside, Torres found a box, military documents, photos, after-action reports, all from the mission Webb had described. The assassination of David Brennan. Proof that it wasn't a drone strike, it was a Special Forces operation. Extrajudicial execution, all documented, all classified, all hidden. Torres photographed everything, uploaded it to cloud storage, multiple locations, sent copies to journalists, to civil rights lawyers, to the family's attorney, made sure the evidence couldn't be buried. Then Torres took the originals, drove to meet the Brennan family's lawyer. The lawyer, Patricia Mills, reviewed the evidence. Mills said to Torres, "This is explosive. This proves the government lied, that David Brennan was assassinated, that there was a cover-up. This will blow the case wide open. But Mr. Torres, you need to understand. You're now a target. They've eliminated the Special Forces team. They'll eliminate you too. Torres said to Mills, I know. That's why I need to go public. Make myself too visible to disappear. Force them to leave me alone, because killing me would only prove we're right. Mills arranged a press conference. Torres appeared with the Brennan family, told the story, showed the evidence, named names, identified the officials who'd ordered the assassination, who'd covered it up, who'd been eliminating witnesses. The story went viral. National news, international coverage. Congressional investigations were announced. Criminal probes were launched. 3 days after the press conference, Webb's body was found in a remote area outside Phoenix. Murdered, execution style. The investigation revealed he'd been taken from his apartment, held, interrogated about what he'd told Torres, then killed when they realized Torres already had the evidence. But Webb's death wasn't in vain. The publicity around the case protected Torres, made him untouchable. Killing Torres now would only confirm everything. So they left him alone. Instead, they tried to discredit him, called him a liar, said he fabricated the evidence. But the documents were real. The photos were real. Other members of the rescue crew came forward, confirmed Torres's story, confirmed the mission, confirmed the cover-up. If this story is affecting you, hit that like button and subscribe right now. Tell me in the comments where you're watching from, your name and city. These stories need to reach everyone. The trial lasted 9 months. The evidence was overwhelming. The government was found liable for wrongful death, for violating David Brennan's constitutional rights, for conducting an extrajudicial execution. The Brennan family was awarded damages, but more importantly, the truth was established. The assassination program was exposed. New oversight was implemented. The officials who'd ordered the killing and the cover-up were forced to resign. 3 faced criminal charges. And Torres became a symbol of whistleblowing, of refusing to let the past stay buried, of honoring the people who'd trusted him with the truth. Torres left the EMT job, took a position with a civil rights organization, worked to expose government overreach, to protect whistleblowers, to ensure no more extrajudicial killings happened in America's name. Years later, Torres would visit Webb's grave, would place flowers, would tell Webb that Webb's courage had mattered, that Webb's evidence had exposed the conspiracy, that Webb's death had not been in vain. Justice had been served. The truth had won, and Torres had made sure of it. Torres would also visit the Brennan family, would meet David Brennan's children, now adults, would tell them about their father, about what really happened, about how Torres had been part of the rescue team that saved the men who killed their father, about the complexity of war, of following orders, of doing terrible things while believing you're serving your country. They didn't hate Torres. They understood. Torres had been a medic, a rescuer. Torres had saved lives, including the lives of men who'd done terrible things. That was Torres's job. And when Torres learned the truth, Torres had done the right thing, had exposed it, had honored their father's memory by making sure his death mattered, by making sure it stopped future extrajudicial killings. That was enough. It would always be enough. Torres carried one thing from that night 8 years ago. A photo from Webb's evidence. It showed the Special Forces team before the mission. Young men, soldiers, believing they were serving their country, following orders they thought were legitimate, not knowing those orders violated everything they'd sworn to protect. Torres kept the photo as a reminder that soldiers can be both victims and perpetrators, that following orders doesn't excuse crimes but explains them, that the real criminals are the ones who give illegal orders, who hide behind classification, who eliminate witnesses, who turn soldiers into assassins and then abandon them when the truth threatens to emerge. Torres had been part of saving those soldiers, had pulled them from a burning helicopter, had given them a chance to live, to come home, to rebuild their lives. And 8 years later, when one of them needed saving again, this time from the people who'd used him, Torres had done it again, had saved Webb's legacy, had honored Webb's courage, had exposed the truth Webb died trying to protect. That was what it meant to be a rescuer. Not just saving lives in the moment, but protecting them years later, but ensuring their sacrifices matter, but making sure the truth they die for doesn't die with them. Torres had done that. For Webb, for Brennan, for all the soldiers caught in impossible situations, for everyone who deserves truth and justice and accountability. One car accident, one recognition, one conversation that led to everything, that exposed a conspiracy, that saved Torres's own life by forcing him to act, that proved the past never really stays buried. It just waits for the right moment to resurface, for the right person to listen, for the right courage to speak. Torres had listened, had acted, had spoken. And because of that, extrajudicial killings were exposed. Oversight was increased. Lives were saved. Justice was served. That was enough. It would always be enough. And somewhere, on a storage unit wall in Tucson, there was still a small mark, where Webb had written coordinates in permanent marker. Just in case. Just to leave a trail. Just to make sure someone could find the truth if Webb couldn't tell it himself. Torres had found it, had followed it, had completed Webb's mission, had brought the evidence home, had made sure it mattered. That was the real rescue. Not the one 8 years ago in Afghanistan, but the one in Phoenix, in Tucson, in courtrooms and press conferences and congressional hearings. The rescue of truth from those who tried to bury it. The rescue of justice from those who tried to prevent it. The rescue of memory from those who tried to erase it. Torres had been a pararescueman, had saved lives by pulling people from danger. And Torres was still saving lives, just in different ways, from different dangers, but with the same commitment, the same courage, the same refusal to abandon people who needed saving. That others may live, the pararescue motto. Torres had lived it in Afghanistan, and Torres lived it still. in Phoenix, in America. Everywhere truth needed defending and witnesses needed protecting, and justice needed fighting for. That was Torres's legacy. That was Torres's mission. That was what mattered. One patient returning. One truth revealed. One conspiracy exposed. One life given meaning by death that forced action. That was enough. It would always be enough.